Hi friends, this is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week we will bring you new episodes sharing our opinions on a ton of different topics in hopes we can get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our opinions and experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals. No one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy and I'm the host of the show. And today we're on episode 118, Operation Hollyweird. Now guys, we've done a lot of research over the last 7-8 weeks building season 5 with all the cult stuff that was super dark, and then turning over to operation stuff hasn't exactly been nice and light and fluffy, and a bunch of us are working really hard in the background, so we thought, you know what, let's take a break and kind of do another Hollyweird episode because y'all loved it so much. It is a really good, fun distraction, and we talk about how much of a distraction it is, and our stories and experiences with how we've just realized how much time we've wasted in the past on celebrities in Hollywood. And then at the end, of course, we're going to loop in some CIA and government stuff for you guys. It's not going to be like totally out of the topic here. We are going to loop in how the CIA and Hollyweird work together to definitely push out propaganda, definitely push out their own agendas and narratives, and, recount how they think things went. And we all see with book burning and online censorship, you kind of see how maybe kind of they've been using Hollywood to kind of influence how we think about certain things, because that's how it is in the movies, right? And it's based off a true story. But, everyone mostly has passed that's been a part of that story, so they just get to make it up to decide who the good and bad guys are. Kind of crazy, right? So there's that. We touch on that. And yeah, just catch up on the recent Hollywood gossip, even though we're not a gossip channel. We don't really listen to it, but there are some things. So we threw it out there because, like we said, it's fun to distract ourselves once in a while. That's why you're here, right? Of course, you're here to get great information like medical advice and no, just kidding. None of that. All of our opinions. But before we jump on to this awesome episode here, guys, I just want to remind you, if you are on Rumble or YouTube, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. It really helps other people find us as well. And then you get notified the minute we drop another episode. And if you are watching on a video, if you can like it, that also helps us. And it lets us know what kind of content you like. I kind of go by views and I kind of go by likes and comments. So make sure to let us know what you like, what you want to see. And make sure on social media you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. We are going hard with our full team on those platforms to provide you guys with all the links and all the things you need to know about us. If you yourself want to talk about something or want us to talk about something, or if you want a segment on the Being Real With segment, please let me know. You are always welcome. Everyone's always welcome. Everyone has a story, and that's what we're here for. So just reach out, shoot us email, tag us, like us, share us out to your friends, let us know what you like, DM us. We're always here for it. We love talking to you guys. But I'm going to shut the fuck up and let's get to this really fun episode of Hollyweird, because really we could just have a whole podcast on that. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And in studio today with me is a beautiful Babe Hales. Hello, baby. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, your girl cannot do this many recordings in a week, apparently, at quarter end.
Yeah, no kidding. My brain's pretty fried, to be honest, so I'm glad that this one's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yes,
So to
guys, as
say.
I mentioned, in the beginning, let's take a break from the 4 and a bit weeks of cults and all of that. That was a couple weeks of
It was
darkness.
intense. Yeah, a lot of like dark research.
Yes, and you're just like, the world is so dark. And then we turn to, the people that are supposed to like serve and save us.
Yeah,
Another
and
dark.
serve as our authority are doing all sorts of weird stuff.
Yes. So, Operation Hollyweird. We are going to touch a little bit with CIA stuff and Pentagon and government when it comes to Hollywood, but we're going to take a little bit of a break. So if you want to know more about that, hold on to the end and we'll show you a few of the things. There's so much out there, but we needed a
Yeah.
little bit of a research break, guys. So this would be like our third or fourth Hollyweird episode. We're going to just catch up on Hollywood goss and keep it nice and light because between the mind control and the weather modifications,
It's deep.
and then it's deep, and then we're going to follow up with war. Let's talk about some
A little
crazy
fluff.
celebrities, a little fluff, because really we know that Hollywood operations is a lot to do with MK Ultra. It has a lot to do with Project Monarch. It has to do a lot with all that shit.
Yeah, they're definitely like it is very similar. Well, it involves all of those, but like this, like we said, the CIA, the government, they have their hands in Hollywood. They use Hollywood to influence us, and they're there for a reason. They're the ultimate distraction. Like some of the stuff we're going to talk about, like why do we care about this? Why is this in the
I don't
news?
know.
Because
Why
somehow
do
it's
we
been
care?
deemed like important. Like
Yep.
it's other
And how
people's
much
lives
money?
and dirty laundry and yeah, like weird things that they spend money on. Like who cares?
I just don't.
Why do we
And it
care?
seems like, why did we decide that people that have money and have been in a lot of movies and are good actors, therefore
Like
equals?
what
And I'm not saying
decided
that they're
that
not, but what
was
decided? Yeah, it's
the
like,
high
oh, they're an
yeah,
actor, then they have a
yeah,
moral high ground, and that's who we're going to go by. Like that part, I get kind of confused on as well. I was in the same spot, but like we said,
yeah.
I've said this multiple times. Tiger King was my whole like, this world is messed up. I got to learn more, and I'm at
Tiger
home. I might
King.
as well dive into like rabbit holes, and then
Bless that
all this
show.
stuff. Right? And now it's like ever since then, I don't see entertainment as I seen it
No.
before. Like it is
It's
strictly entertainment.
some of this stuff like we're going to talk about. I honestly like since tuning out probably what 2 years ago now, it's just so hard to get back in and like you see stuff all over social media. I still follow a bunch of like weird pages that like do
Same.
talk about celebrity stuff,
Yeah.
but
Especially with
yeah, it's
conspiracy theories. That was my favorite.
when you're out of it, it's especially crazy to see how like in your face it is and everywhere it is. Like all the news stations like have a gossip segment and like all like it's crazy how out there they put that for people to see to draw them in, be like, "Oh, what are
Mhm.
the fucking Kardashians doing or
Yeah, what the
not
fuck do
doing
they
or
care
whatever."
about?
Like,
What does Cardi B
oh,
have to say about climate
what's
change?
yeah, what's my favorite athlete's like stance on this? Like, who cares? Like,
Yes.
it's
Form your
it's
own
and pure
opinion.
entertainment, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
very obvious being on this side now.
Yes.
Is my point.
I think the biggest thing I seen besides the pandemic too was the last presidential, like the 2020 presidential election, because I feel like at the same time it was all this COVID stuff, and you started to see people selling out, and you seen people that were sponsored by like the Johnson and Johnsons and all that, like Jennifer Aniston, and
Or the
and then you
people
started seeing people
super for yeah
for the vaccine, and then all of a sudden all these
Biden
people are super for
versus
Biden and stuff like that too, right? And you're like, where you're just like, oh, I really love this this celebrity, but they're very much backing like this ideologies that I don't follow along with. So I don't know, it was just a lot different these last
it
couple of years.
honestly
Whereas
bothered
before
me
it was
because
like,
I don't believe they should be able to use their platform for like political stuff like that because like it really does sway people a lot of the times and I find that so
it does.
inappropriate and like so like such a misuse of their platform. Like if
Yes.
you're going to do that, you better be like they say like the NASCAR drivers and like show who is sponsoring you and who's paying for
Hmm.
your shit and why you're talking
Hmm.
so well about certain things. Like it just really yeah, became so apparent during the Trump Biden
It did. And it was just like you could
like
just tell. And people
the
got
you
ripped
could
out
like
if they were.
taste, smell, and see the hatred for Trump throughout Hollywood. It was so palpable. If you said you liked him, like poor Kanye, you were like
Oh,
just
oh my
canceled.
God.
The
You
newest
were
thing at
just
the
so
time,
canceled.
canceled. Like it was
Yeah,
just
done.
it was
You
a lot
support
of
Trump.
real
And it was like,
yeah,
okay.
the
Why was that
sellout
such
and
a
just
crazy
the
thing?
how often does an entire like what is that like it's all of LA, it's all of California practically. Like they all live there.
Mhm.
They're all over the world. How
Mhm.
is a group of that many people always come like on
The
board
same
with the
page.
same
Yeah.
idea for the same
Yeah.
thing. Like it was literally everyone was saying it. Like the COVID
Mhm.
blurbage, like I've got COVID,
Yes.
but I'm gonna
Distance.
isolate, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I got my shots and my boosters. Like that whole splurb that everyone would say, it was exactly
Yes.
that. Oh, screw Trump. Vote for
Mhm.
Biden and Kamala. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Like it was so just like parroted. Like they were just
Mhm.
parrots squawking the same thing, just
Well, and then
different
you
ways. Like it was
realize
just bad.
how many of them sign stuff and have contracts, and we start listening to that, and they say, "Well, I couldn't say this because it
All
goes
the
against my
awards
NDA or all the words and
sponsored by Pfizer.
all the yeah,
Like,
exactly. And it's like you know, and how many times do we see that in so many different ways where people are like, I was just doing my job. Well, it's the same thing, right? There. And I think at some point we all looked at celebrities, and it's still people do, but a lot of people have changed and know that they are sponsored. And
yeah,
I think that's a big change that's happening with the online influencers now, is I think that they used to think that they're so genuine and that they're just
yeah.
bringing people, and there are still out there, but a lot of them, especially now, like
It's
in
so
makeup
different.
beauty, it's so different. They're all like pumping
I
stuff
feel
up. And
like
Jeffree Star threw shade at this, and he was just like, "Oh my god, he's like, if everything is so amazing, like, but it's not. Like, you
nothing
have to
is,
be honest,
yeah.
and nothing is, right? Nothing's honest." And it was like, I feel like
I
online
seriously think
influencers are falling into that now too. Same as celebrities, like
the
no credit.
the stock of like Hollywood and the influence that like celebrities and influencers have on us has dropped so hard in the last like year or two. Like
Mhm.
it is crazy how I feel like yeah, shit like it is just not the same. Like I feel like I don't know. For me personally, they do not have the same effect. Like I was such a
No.
makeup junkie. All the beauty gurus and beauty influencers, like loved them all. I had my favorites. Like it was just an absolute ridiculous like circle of like money spent and like new things coming out. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I've just
I always
watched it
like the
like
drama
drop so hard.
of the
The
beauty
drama's fun.
community.
Don't get me wrong,
Like,
but
yeah, the last couple of years, if I
it's
needed to escape,
entertainment,
that's yeah.
guilty
And but I
pleasures, right?
noticed Yeah, but I noticed that it's actually died down in the last year since TikTok
Yeah,
was really hyped. It's like maybe it is over there, but it's not like the YouTubers anymore. They're all TikTokers, and they just the makeup beauty industry on YouTube is just kind of still doing their thing, but they've learned all of
yeah.
the don'ts and do's, right? Like I don't know, that
I
Glamzilla or
also feel
something
like
posted.
we follow the ones that like we grew up with, and there's so many new
Mhm.
ones too, and like all the new weird stuff, like all the have you seen the thing with influencers where their houses that are like beefing, where it's like five or six
Oh, yes.
influencers will live together and another group of like five or six influencers will live together and they like don't like each other, and like there is a whole weird
Couch
like
fighting.
like reality show based on it. It was on Netflix for a while or whatever the fuck streaming platform I was on, and it was always advertised, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like this is seriously like
Our
where
life.
our entertainment has gone. Like I remember like
Yes.
even watching some of the red carpets, like all the
Yeah.
outfits are like weird and like agenda-y and like it's so painfully obvious. Like I remember when red carpets were like elegant gowns and
Yeah.
like you had to
Art.
look like classy and like put together and like beautiful dresses, and the designers are so proud. Now designers have to do like weird like 8 foot shoulder pads and like gowns on everyone, like man, woman, child. Like it's just
Yeah. It's not the same.
I just
In
want
the
like
name
the
of
old
art.
classy, yeah, like the
Yeah.
art and the pushing, like everything's like satanic or everything's gay or everything's like there's always some like huge like
Movement behind a theme.
yeah, popular like movement behind the theme. Exactly. Like every
Yeah.
like they're trying to make minorities out of like everything and everyone so they can all be
Yes.
represented. And like I'm for representation and I'm not like racist at any stretch, but like when does it become like do we have to have something special for every fucking race for every race to feel special? And I find it
I
funny,
don't
like
think
I'm
so.
gonna say it and you can roll your eyes. The only one race we're not allowed to celebrate is our own. Like we're not allowed to
Yes.
be proud to be white because apparently that
No.
means we're like awful racist, colonizing. Like it's just fucking like that whole
It's
thing
wild
really
now.
like exhausts me. But there's
Yes.
always an agenda. There's always something that Hollywood needs to represent. It can't just be
Mhm.
like I just
And is it real? Is it really
it's
representing though? That's the thing
not.
I think that's what pisses me off. And then like when you
It's
stand up about it, people
clumping
are like,
on virtue
it is. It's
signaling like,
clumping on.
oh
Yes. It's holding on to people's emotions and being
We
like, "Look, I'm
care.
supporting you.
Do
We
you?
care." But do you? Because these celebrities make millions and millions and millions of dollars. So, and we're not saying that anybody like that they should just throw all their money to them. But so many people say, "Oh, they care about these reasons," and it's like they just speak out on social media. They say something like, Kim Kardashian
They're
spoke out
paid
against like
to.
Kanye, yeah, about Kanye, like weeks after his, anti-Semitic, which he shouldn't have said those things. We all have agreed that that was not great. She spoke out 2 weeks ago and was like, "I denounce this violence," da da da, and it's like, wow, you put out a tweet. Like, what is that doing when you have
But she also
millions and
like
millions of dollars? Like, I just,
makes
how
it
is that
sound
helping?
so I denounce this file. Like, bitch, shut
You're the one.
up. Like, you're
Like the
making it
things you're
worse than
bad,
it
like
is.
yours.
Like, ignore
Yes.
him. Like the
Yeah.
thing he said
Yeah.
recently about Jonah Hill making him like Jews again after watching 21 Jump Street. It's like,
Oh my God.
just ignore him. But like
Just
also where the
ignore
fuck
him. He'll
has he
go
been?
away.
Cuz he was like going crazy and
Yes.
then he just kind of like
I linked a
disappeared.
thing. I linked a thing
Yeah.
for you.
Here,
Um,
I'll read it. It says
yeah.
cuz he disappears and then he comes back married. Like who the
Yes.
fuck? Excuse me?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
and
It's
it's
like,
funny how
what's the
like Britney and
microphone?
everything, like we can talk about Britney in a minute, but like there's always a big marriage to turn things around, or
Yes.
there's always like a big like
Baby
something to
or
turn everything
career
around when
change.
they go
Yeah.
crazy or like
Yeah.
or when they like go off the like deep end. So yeah, inside Kanye's steady relationship, yeah, with his muse Bianca Sensori, I believe it is. She is like a Kim clone looking at this photo.
Cologne.
So he has
Cologne.
a type. We're just gonna say he is very much like he's got a type.
He has a type for
And
sure.
it says, yeah, like Bianca and Kanye have really inspired each other throughout their relationship and are designing collections of clothes together. So I guess she worked for, wasn't it? What's his fucking brand?
Easy.
Yeezy.
Yeah.
She's like a creative designer or
Designer.
creative
Yeah.
something or whatever.
Had been for
So
years,
that's
I
how they
guess.
met. So
Yeah.
cute. She's 28. He's 45.
Mm,
I mean, she's 28. She's an adult.
She's
So I mean,
28. She's an adult. I
as
mean,
long
it's
as there's not
18
the
years,
one in front
but
of that 8, I'm fine
yeah.
with it. 20,
Yeah.
28
28 is better
is,
than
yeah,
18.
so good for Kanye. So,
Yep.
but yeah, they got, where the hell does it say they got married? Because didn't they get, like, wasn't it? Yeah, right here. Shortly after the couple went public with their romance, US Today, a magazine, of course, gets the rights to it, confirmed that the pair had a small marriage ceremony. While it was unclear whether the union was legally binding or not, a source tells us at the time that the milestone was very real for Kanye and her. So, like, how real can it be? Like,
I
it
just
kind of
don't
reminds
know.
me of like the Tom and Katie thing. Like, was this a setup? Like, has he known her for years and it's just been this thing blossoming behind the scene? Because that's totally possible too, which is
Yeah,
super
totally
cute. Like,
possible.
I really hope they work out and like
Yep.
I hope he finds the fact that she has like I don't want to say normal job, but like has like a service job and like a basic
Yes.
like she's not a celebrity in her own right. She will be now, but
Yeah.
like I feel
She
like
got up
I
somewhere
like
on her own.
I like seeing celebrities that like marry like outside of Hollywood. I feel like that
Yes.
just like shows how like Ed Sheeran, I believe, married like one of his like high school or like childhood
Mhm.
like girlfriends or whatever. Like or I don't remember what the case was, but like
Something.
I
Yeah.
just find that endearing where it doesn't seem fake. Like oh, another celebrity married another celebrity, which is yes, lots of happy marriages, but like
A lot of
sometimes
it's
there's always that air
arrangement.
of like arranged fakeness, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. They do it
So
for mutual like celebrity
I
status and
wonder
like
if he just got like completely like revamped Kanye and they
I gotta
re-released him
wonder.
with like it makes you think,
Because
especially
he's
after
quiet.
like
He's not being
there
controversial.
yeah, and I think that the only other person that has had some like where his like programming breaks down because he was talking some real shit before he disappeared.
Mhm.
I don't know if he went away maybe to like clear his mind and say, "Hey, look,
Yeah, maybe.
just got
You
to
need to
move the
back
fuck
off.
on, whatever,"
Yep.
or they ranged him back in with the help of
Mm.
her
Yep.
and
Yep.
she's
Is
his new
that the new
handler
handler?
and now they've got him back on track, but he's still saying weird things about like Jews right after
Yeah,
he
he
came
is.
back too.
He is.
So like
It's weird.
I don't he's kind of a wild card. He could be
He
completely
is.
planned and plotted that way though.
Yeah,
Hollywood like they need
absolutely.
that one weird wild card that says whatever the hell. Like who the
Just to
hell
get
knows? That's the
people
thing about
freaking out.
Hollywood is like knowing all the things that we know the government has done and tested and like all the mind control and LSD drugging and like complete
Mhm.
all that. Like it doesn't surprise me that they have set up all of these pawns in Hollywood. Everyone is like an actor for a reason. And
Mhm.
it's just like a big sham. Like it's
Always.
literally a big
He
distraction. They
just
get paid tons of money
always.
to like constantly entertain us and like do weird shit like poor fucking Justin Bieber and like
Oh my god. I
being
heard today
embarrassed in
all the
front of
time.
the
I read
world.
today I read today that he's contemplating leaving the music business because he just doesn't love what it's all doing, and that he just
Dude,
essentially,
he's
which
called
is,
out people before, and he's
yep,
like pretty much came out and said that like some of the shit that goes on behind the scenes is like disgusting, and like I think that's why his career has kind of come to a halt. I think
yeah.
he kind of pissed people off and he kind of
Mhm.
screwed himself, and he's kind of the new Britney, Lindsay, Amanda Bynes of like the boy version, which because I find you don't see a lot of guys. You do, but like it's
Well, they
such
get
different
to die
treatment.
unalive.
You know what I mean?
unalive.
He's getting
Yeah.
very much like the Disney princess kind of treatment where he's still kind of trying to live a life, but they're like, he's just, his
He
stock
gets
has
dragged
plummeted.
in.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I wonder too, it's like it says he wants to cancel, and it's like, is it him wanting to cancel, or is it because like there's a bunch of drama, which will come back to Kanye with Kim Kardashian, because that's another piece, but to switch to the Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez drama. And when I see stuff like this, I immediately go,
It's
what are
sad.
they trying to distract us from? Because why is this important? So supposedly Hailey Bieber and two of her friends made this TikTok about saying like God's timing is always like something's not always fair, but God's timing is always
It's just
right, or
petty
some shit like
comments and
that.
bullshit, like high school
Because
shit.
yes, because apparently Selena Gomez was getting dragged about some like pictures of her and swimming. And like here's the thing though, it's like maybe that was done for that, but like also what is it doing to highlight this and blow this up and everyone pointing it
Why
out to
is
always
that
at
our
like
entertainment?
that's what I mean. Like, why do we want to take that and go, oh, that's being shade to this and like bring this all up? Like, if people didn't look into this and like point this out and be these investigators of the way that people are
Yeah.
behaving and think everything's done with purpose without just like jumping on a trend or something, maybe it is. But like, are we doing any better by highlighting it? So I just
The
thought that that
funny
was
thing
kind of
is if
wild.
this was something you saw on like Facebook or something between people you know, that'd be like one of those like, ooh, like look at that moment, like that's shitty, and like yeah, it's
Yeah,
whatever to look at,
and
but
that's
like,
it.
do you need to then blast it all over the news and make it like front page and like magazines everywhere? Like, not to mention
It's just
these
so
girls, like
hard.
how old are they? 24,
20
25,
something. Yeah,
26? Like
very
they're
young, under their 30s.
younger than 30. Like this, like that's what we're reduced to, is caring about their like petty drama.
TikToks back and
When you
forth that
really
they're
think
doing.
about it, like that really, that's what.
Yeah,
All right.
that's where we're at.
I mean,
And so I guess he's
that's where
just
we're
like
at.
not commented on it because like why get involved in that? And now it's to the point where
There's no
so much
point.
there's no point. So I guess Selena Gomez's like stans and fans have gone to like Hailey Bieber
Dude,
and
I've
are
seen
like
some weird
bullying
shit
her.
on.
It's wild people get
I've
for
seen like
celebrities.
the most, like the theme of all the things I've seen is how like Justin doesn't really like Haley, and like
Yes.
he wants to be with Selena. He called Selena on like the night of his wedding or like the ceremony at the at the courthouse, and like said that he missed her and loved her and whatever the hell. Like there's like so much like weird. I've just, this is just simply off of stuff that has popped up on
Yes.
my
Yes.
Instagram
So
too.
much.
Like I'm like, what is going on now? Like bits and
Yep.
pieces, but yeah, and like it's always, oh, Haley's like the worst and Selena's the best is all I've
Yep.
seen. So I'm clearly on the Selena stan side of like Instagram
Yes.
algorithms, because like that's all
That's all
I've
you
seen.
see.
But
Yeah.
it's true. It's just like,
And it seems like
who the
everyone just
fuck
cashes
cares?
in. I feel like everyone cashes in and has their opinion because people just want to make money off of it because so many people just want to be absorbed in other
It's
people's
the
lives so they
lowest
don't have to
form of
focus
like, it's
on their
gossip,
own. It is, right? And like, yes, we escape it. We're talking about
true
it now
gossip.
for sure. But like, I find it more interesting when we jump in and figure out why people are doing these things. Like, what is
Hmm.
the social reasoning? Like, I get it, but I don't. But what is the social reasoning
Behind
to be
why
like,
the popularity of this
yes,
kind of
like why Selena Gomez?
content.
What is it about her? Is she more relatable than Hailey Bieber because Hailey Bieber came from like
I
money?
was
Like
thinking that
what?
like
Why do we
in
hate
the
Hailey?
in the terms of like Hollywood and the way we know it works, like Selena could have been a sacrifice for Justin, where he had to cut ties with her and create this huge drama and rift and go find someone else or marry someone else to create like the like intrigue and the pull for his like
continual
brand
drama.
and her brand and all that crap, and that could have been that, and it could be very well true that he's still in love with her, they still love each other, but they have to play into this fucking BS whatever. Like, I was thinking of all sorts of weird stuff because, like I
They
said,
lost their baby,
knowing what
hey?
they do in like Hollywood, or knowing what they do in the CIA and behind closed doors, like Hollywood is like that, very much strategic matchups, like being
Mhm.
seen with like a co-star, so now like you're having an
Mhm.
affair, like all these weird like sly little rumors are so popular throughout
Yeah.
Hollywood that like it really like I feel like the sky's the limit, and like
Mhm.
I could think up a scenario with like aliens involved and I would still halfway believe it because it's just they
That's what
need
they
us
do.
distracted. That's what they
Yes.
do. They
And
create
and
intrigue out
and I
of
think the biggest
nothing.
shock to me was, yeah, was also that they call paparazzi. They call and do photo shoots. They
I
call.
didn't realize that until later, like that they
Yes.
legitimately you can tell the setup photos versus like the like
Not set
true
up.
paparazzi photos because like
Yes.
they're super unflattering, but the
Yeah.
ones where they always look like flawless walking out of a building, those are all I didn't
Especially
realize that. The Kardashians are the
especially
worst for it.
They are, and especially if they have something bad going on, and I wanna jump
You can
to
tell.
kind of, as to Wendy Williams was one of the people that has been recently supposedly kinda doing that because
She's
you'll
a
see
hard
her,
one.
like, where she's in her really hard place, and then all of a sudden you'll just see her so poised and perfect, and it's like she's been known to, like, call apparently, allegedly, people to the places to make her look like she's all put together, but then you get see some of these really bad
But
ones. I
that's
guess she
why
yeah, was in rehab in, like, the fall, and she's still drinking and going hard, and it's so
the worst
sad to
part is you
see.
can't feel bad for her though. Like
I
that's what
know, I
she
know,
does that for a living. She was
I
like
know.
she's like Joan Rivers. Like she says some mean things about people and like the way
Mm.
they dress and like who they're dating and like all sorts of like she's very much a gossip queen, and like you hate to
Well,
say
look
it,
what it
but
does
like
to you. Look
if
what
you
it does
paint
to
an ugly
you.
picture of someone, like
Mhm.
yeah, and like how it's not like what is does she have is she married? Like
So I guess she was cheated on, and it sounds like I'm
oh
not entirely sure, but it sounds like the ex had a lot to do with, like, the show and
the
all of her
drinking.
fame and her money, and so, like, there was a lot about that. I think I didn't quite get into it, but
So the poor
yeah,
woman
she's
is
drinking
struggling and
again,
going through mental health issues and like
and she was
divorce
saying
and
she's
like whatever the
done.
hell the
Yeah,
case is, and people are benefiting off it because she's now spiraling and causing news.
exactly
So
it, exactly it.
they like hope and push these people to like complete detriment. Hell, look at like yeah, like they push them to their brink, like Amanda Bynes and Lindsay Lohan and Britney
Britney
Spears and
Spears, yeah,
like
all of
all the
them.
crazy celebrities that go like off tilt and like all the mug shots that you see of celebrities and like it's tragic. Like ugh.
It makes me really sad. I just thought that was one that's so interesting. Like, because I guess she keeps saying like she's coming to Hollywood and she's gonna have this new reality show, but then her podcast just got canceled. And like someone said in the comments that I always go to the comments to read, and it was just kind of saying like at this point it's almost like elder abuse. Like she's obviously very
Yeah,
sick. Whoever is pushing her to do this stuff is doing it to make money off of her, and like she just needs to spend some time out of the limelight
it's
to
this
take to heal, and it just kind of shows you like having that kind of toxic life, no matter
an
how much money you
environment.
have or fame, it really shows like it's going to show up in your health and like the
Yeah,
rest of your life. So it's like,
we are much happier than all of our favorite celebrities
isn't
and
it
artists.
wild though how much you've noticed that over the last couple of years from when you were younger? You just looked at all these celebrities, like that'll lead me to
They
my
look like
next
they
one.
had the life. Yeah,
Yes. So I don't know if you guys have watched this, but if you go to YouTube, there is the Lou Pearlman documentary. It is called the Boy Band Scam. And holy shit, my mind was blown wide
boy
open. It was
bands. I
about,
just
yeah.
put a bunch
And
of
s-
boy band playlists on my Spotify playlists because I love me my
I
boy
feel so
bands. I love it.
I feel so bad for them, you guys. If you haven't gone to see this, go watch it. It's about Lou Pearlman, who was the manager of both NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, plus a bunch of other little groups after. And it brings
They
everybody on that got fucked by them. I
he
think it was
pits yeah
Lance Bass
pits them
who did it.
against each other, and
Did you
it's
watch it?
just no. But I've seen bits and pieces of like
Mm.
from documentaries talking about him and how yeah he like pit them against each other and like just he, like he was literally working both sides. Like
Yes.
they
And
should
he
have
was
been the
the
best of friends. Like
Yes,
fuck
yes, and he was the sixth member, so he convinced every single band that he was a part of, male or female, that he was one of the band members, and that's just the way things were. And so I guess the guys were like all really excited. They worked really hard for like years and years. They're working
yeah.
on. So they're going to get a check, and they were so excited. They're sitting down for dinner, and it ended up being $10,000. And these guys had been like selling millions of records at that point, and they were very
Just
confused,
ripped
like
him
why
off
ripped him off hard.
hard.
And he's like, "Well, how do you think I paid for everything over the last couple of years?" And it was like they all thought that Lou was just paying for this stuff for them because he just had lots of money, and that's what he did. But turns out it was all of their money, and they had
Yeah,
nothing. And yeah, and so he also was scamming
he's
people.
brutal.
He was brutal. It's just, anyways, it blew my mind because at that point you're thinking these guys have it all. Like, I want to be one of
Dude, I
those
was
bands,
obsessed with Nick
right?
Carter.
Everyone has their band members.
Yeah.
I think that we'll have to talk in our 10K episode when we go back
Yeah.
and talk about our
Go
favorite
through our
boy
favorite
bands,
boy bands and
songs.
girl bands, but yeah,
Yeah,
like you look up to them, you think they're like the greatest thing, but they're like, well, even like look at Nick Carter
even
and Aaron
Spice
Carter,
Girls.
like they were in like the entertainment business so young. Like
Yes.
all those kids, like remember Teen Tiger and Teen Beat and all those like
Hmm.
teen
Teen
magazines,
Bop.
like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and
Yes,
like
JTT.
I
Hello.
yeah, like all of like they were in that so
Spice
young.
Girls.
Like they
Yeah.
were definitely taken advantage of and like paid less when they should have been paid more, or like worked longer hours than they should have, and like
Yes.
a lot of times too it's parents that are doing it, ripping them off.
Yes.
Like it's
So that was another one I forgot to write down that we'll bring up. But let's go back to Aaron Carter after, and if you can pull up that
yeah,
article, I just want to talk about that child laws. So I watch see Diary of a CEO is one of my absolute favorite podcasts, YouTube's out there. Steven's incredible podcaster. I look up to him very much. But it was like Cole Sprouse, I think it is. It's the twin
yeah,
boys that were
I
on
actually
Friends.
heard about that
It
interview,
was
that
it was
podcast.
oh my God, it was one of the best ones I'd ever seen. But basically what he said is like his mom obviously kind of like abused that, but because they were twins, they got away with those laws because they just kept switching them in and out.
So they
Which I thought
worked
was
much
pretty
harder and
fucked up.
longer.
So
Well, think
yeah, they
about the
were.
Olsen twins
Olsen twins,
playing
same thing.
Michelle.
Yeah, switching them out right off the bat so that they would still work the same amount. And that kind of just it's not really there to protect
Sad.
them, really, right? It makes
No.
sad, but it just kind of blew me. But one thing before you jump into the Aaron Carter, on the
Yeah.
Lou Pearlman documentary, you can tell that Aaron Carter was really still attached and did not see the abuse, and he gets very emotional. And the hardest part about that is if you go into the comments, I'll try to post this around the same time this episode airs on the Instagram story. It says, I'm really, all the people into the comments from years ago were like, I'm so worried about Aaron Carter. You can tell he's still like not letting go of the abuse, da 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 da. Like, I'm really worried. And all the comments were about how worried they were with Aaron Carter. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, that's so sad because, like, and you could see people commenting the last couple months being like, oh fuck. Like,
Well, and he was in it before he was even famous, like only when Nick
yes,
was, and being drug around to
yes.
things. And then they said his parents tried to get Aaron in because they realized that Nick was doing well, and like they just wanted to
Mhm.
cash in and shit. Like it's
He was like
disgusting.
7 or 8
Yeah.
years old when he had like multi-million-dollar sales for his like. So I think he was
I was
very abused at a young age.
obsessed with Aaron
Because
Carter. I
you're like,
had his
oh,
CD. Like, yeah, you found out I got a crush on you. Yeah, I fucking love that shit. That was
with
my
his fucking like
jam.
mushroom cut in his face,
Yeah.
with the white
Dude, I had
t-shirt.
that haircut before I discovered him. I had that terrible bowl cut. It was
Oh, I love
nasty.
it. It was
I love
nasty.
it.
I can't wait to see pictures. But yeah, and then I
Yeah.
stumbled across this because, obviously we all question when celebrities die in Hollywood, and Aaron Carter is a question mark,
Especially
and we're
super
not the only one.
suspiciously, right?
Yeah.
So I guess his fiance is calling out that she doesn't think he died accidentally and it's too suspicious and they think it's murder. So it says Aaron Carter's fiance, Melanie Martin, is raising question about his untimely death in final moments, just days after his mother doubled down on her claims that her son may have been murdered. So his mom has also said something. Many factors discussed with the police and coroner do not add up to a simple overdose. Um, I want to know what really happened so I can focus on raising our son Prince without constantly losing sleep on what happened to his father. And honestly, not knowing what happened to someone you've lost is
Oh,
probably one of the worst feelings to sit with you. Like, truly,
especially
truly,
when you
truly.
put him in that lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when it's something where there's no one around to observe it, like you don't know the details, like
Mhm.
it,
And
it
things look
yeah.
suspicious. It doesn't seem right. Like all like
hmm
Chester Bennington's wife, like all of those guys are like, not Avicii, none of this sat right.
it's not good. So it says the 34-year-old troubled singer's official cause of death was yet to be determined, but his body was reportedly discovered alongside multiple cans of compressed air and prescription pill bottles with no water in his lungs, so he wouldn't have drowned in the tub, which is interesting. His fiancee has been joined by his mother, Jane Carter, in speaking out to say that the family believes his death was caused by an overdose after drug deal gone wrong. So he was also talking some serious shit before he died.
He was. He was.
He reached out to
Very much.
Kanye about certain things about being drugged and like held
Same
against his
handler.
will, and like the same handler and stuff like that. So like I wouldn't necessarily say it was a drug deal gone wrong, or it probably was, but it was like a hired hit type thing, like
Yeah.
orchestrated behind the scenes, because like
Something in those
yeah,
drugs or something like
people
that.
like Aaron Carter and the people like Nick, he even called out his brother Nick. When I found this
Mhm.
out, I literally, when I tell you my baby heart broke to find out that Nick Carter was accused of rape,
I know.
like it, and of one of
What
the
the
fucking
fuck?
bands, Dream. She's a girl from the band Dream. I have that music I listen to regularly on my freaking playlist.
Like, I
Like,
can't.
yeah, I just, when I heard that, I was just like mortified. And Aaron Carter has spoken out saying my brother's a rapist. He has straight out said it.
100%.
When
Yeah.
Nick Carter has denied these allegations, like it was just like,
Of course she's
what
gonna deny
is
it.
going on?
Since when do they
My
admit it? Like,
childhood was just like crumbling
destroyed.
before my eyes. I was like, oh my god,
But isn't
this
it
is
wild though?
ridiculous.
And then you
It's
hear like,
insane.
some, let's say the Spice Girls, and they talk about all the mental health issues that they had
Well, and
going
it
through all
wraps you
that.
up. Like
Yeah, and you're
I
just
can
like,
see like it does
what?
work, because yeah, when you figure stuff out like that, or like I just told you, I just watched She's the Man with
Mhm.
Amanda Bynes, and
Yes,
I was
love
watching it,
that
and
one next.
in that movie, honestly, she was beautiful. She was at the
Oh,
peak
that
of
was her
her
highlight.
everything. She was like athletic. She's hilarious. Like she
Channing
was
Tatum in
truly,
that one?
yeah. Oh
Or who
God,
was it?
Channing Tatum. Yeah, it was. She could have been, honestly, I would have. She could have done SNL. Like she was
Mhm.
just. She had like Jim Carrey face. She was so
Yes.
funny and
Yeah.
comical and just like so good. And look what the hell they have done to that girl. She
Oh, do
has
you
a
wanna jump to
tattoo
that one?
of a heart on her face. Like it's just
Yes, and she was in and out with her boyfriend or husband
ah.
or whatever, fiance, like, I don't
Well,
know what, but
what
they've
was
been
it?
pretty
She just
messy.
recently like got
Yeah,
caught
here I
walking
can
naked. What is this? Right
yeah,
here.
let
Yeah.
me pull.
She's got like a weird septum piercing. She's got black hair and that freaking heart tattoo on the middle
And
of
then
her
the black
cheek.
eyeliner always
Oh, it
gets
just
me. That reminds
breaks
me to
my
a certain
heart.
time.
Yeah, it says I
Yeah,
do you
go
want
ahead.
to read it? It
Oh,
says
go ahead, I got
eyewitness
lost.
tells us Bynes was seen walking near downtown LA early Sunday morning without any clothes. We're told she waved down a car, telling the driver she was coming down from a psychotic episode. Amanda called 911, and she put herself, yeah, her she was taken to the police station where the mental health team determined that she needed to be placed on 5150 psych hold. So she was walking around nudie nudes and got put on hold.
Yeah.
But it just like it says
I think
it
she
was
was so
almost
out of her
1 year to
comfort
the
zone.
day when Amanda's 9 year conservatorship was officially terminated. So she was in conservatorship too. She was going to like fashion school, I'm pretty sure I
Mhm,
saw like shortly after, and that was when she was talking about that weird fiance of hers and got like the weird tattoos
mhm,
on her face and like her cheeks
mhm.
pierced at one point, I'm pretty sure. Like
Yeah, she went all out.
watching that and seeing her now, and like how like when you look in her eyes you can see that like just
She's
glazed,
gone.
cross-eyed, just gone, like Britney Spears. They're
So
just
sad.
not
They're
there.
not
Like it
there, and
is
it's
just
so sad.
so sad. And yeah, to like remember it, like I think the last good movie that she did was Easy A, and she
Yes.
just
Oh my
looked
god, yes.
so I just it
Yeah,
really like hurts my heart. I think hers is the saddest. Hers and Britney obviously, but like
yeah.
Amanda Bynes, for me, growing up with her, like that one just stings to me
Yes.
to see
I think the
where
cool
she
part
is now.
too, not a cool part. Sorry, not the cool part. A cool
Yeah.
one is uh Lindsay Lohan. She actually looks like she might have pulled herself out.
I really
Um,
hope that
she looks like I think she
her
got pregnant or she
her
has a
fiance
baby
and this
or
baby that she's gonna
yeah.
have, I really hope that she's on the straight and narrow because her too. I think
Mhm.
she's been trying to claw out of her purgatory where her poor
Yeah.
career had gone. Cause her
And her
too. Like, look
dad,
at her. She played a fucking two people in
yes.
Or which one? Parent Trap was she in?
Yeah,
It was
Parent
that one.
Trap. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like she did. She like
She
she
worked
was
hard.
so good. She was primed to be
Mhm.
such a good little actress, and like
Just
they
took her in.
just pulled her down.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, fucking
Yeah.
Selena Gomez, Demi
All of them.
Lovato,
Oh my
them, they,
God.
her, whoever
Now
the
she's a
shit she is
she, or now
now.
she's yeah, whatever
Like,
she is
look
now.
at them
Those
all. Like,
are
it's just so
yeah.
like, ugh.
I think the one cool thing too, I think we talked about this on the show before. It's called Slave Princess by Liz Cronkin,
Oh
and
God.
it has Lindsay Lohan's dad on there saying that the same woman who put Britney Spears and everyone else in theirs, I can't remember her name right now, at the tip of
Lou,
my tongue. No, not
Lou.
Lucas. Who's the other one? Um,
No, her name was
Luann
Lou
Taylor.
Taylor.
Luann Taylor.
Lou Taylor.
Luann
Yeah,
Taylor. Yeah, Luann
yeah.
Taylor. Yeah. So she approached Lindsay Lohan's dad and he said, absolutely not. I will not be. She's just going through shit and I let her go through shit and I supported her, but I was not going to put her in some sort of psychiatric hold and care. Like, there's no
Conservatorship.
fucking way. Yeah. And I think it was the same chick tried to do the same
She
thing for
she got Britney.
Courtney
She
Love,
got Courtney Love. Like
Amanda.
she's the one that, yeah, like Amanda. She's the one that like facilitated the takeover of their like lives and careers essentially.
And all their
It's
fucking
disgusting.
money. She's a piece of
Yeah.
shit. Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting. Let's jump to one thing that I want to positively say is if you guys haven't seen already, so Black China has officially quit
Yes.
OnlyFans. She's going by her real name, which is Angela White. She's been baptized. She got her devil tattoo covered. She dissolved all of her fillers. She got her implants out, and basically she's just saying, "This isn't for me. This is not what I want. This is not how I want to raise my kids. I'm just fucking done with all of it essentially and I'm on this good path and she looks fucking
It's wild
stunning.
how many
Stunning.
celebrities end up taking the route of just like trying to live like a semi-normal life. Like
Mhm.
I find Cameron Diaz retired really early in her career when
Yes.
she was like doing good, and like now she has her kid and she's pretty quiet. So I feel
Mhm.
like we're gonna see a lot of celebrities reversing, and I really hope we do because yeah, like
Mhm.
good for Angela, and the fact that
Yes.
you can call her Angela and like most people be like who because they
Yep.
don't know that per side of
Yep.
her. And I saw it was a clip again. That's how I knew of this because there was some kind of interview that she did, and it said like
She
it's
looks
like
so
Paris
good.
Hilton, that voice she put on and that persona she put on, and then she got the Simple Life booking because of it, and she had to
Mhm.
carry that on. How often did we hear like Paris talking with like one of those like super weird voices, but then when you hear her talk, it's like she's got like a very
Totally
low,
monotone. Yeah, very low.
yeah,
Like
like
yeah. Yeah.
the persona can just like completely erase the who you are. And I love the way
Mhm.
she said that, like, I'm Angela, no one
Yep.
calls me that anymore, it's always Black or China or China, Black China, and like all sorts of weird nicknames. She's like, that's not who I am, I'm Angela,
No.
like
Yeah. And she's like, I
Angie,
just don't
like
die.
fuck.
I don't identify with that personal post persona anymore. I
Yeah,
don't want that. I don't want my kids to grow up
you
with
did to
that. I
give up
don't. It's my
OnlyFans money
fault.
because apparently celebrities of her status are making fucking
Millions.
quiche on
Yeah,
OnlyFans. I don't even know
exactly.
what they're
So it's like
showing. I don't know if they're showing cooch, tits,
probably
nipples,
nothing.
what, or if it's just bikini shots, but like they rake in the cash and it is
Mhm.
mental. So the fact that she gave that up means that, yeah, this is probably something she fucking is set on and like is
Yeah,
desperately wanting. So good for
it's
her.
beautiful. And like all like dissolving all of her fillers, getting rid of her boobs.
Yes.
And she
Being
just
natural.
and natural, she had like no makeup on and she was just like absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, oh, not that she was a before, but it's again, I feel like maybe
It's
it's
the
just as I age.
excess.
Yeah, the excess isn't just to me like it's fun to like do that up once in a while, but to continually live in that, I don't know if you watch. Well, we talked about Lashgate on here a little bit with Michaela Neguera or whatever.
Yeah.
She also is someone that I think her accent, her Boston accent, is very overplayed to play this persona,
There's
and I
videos of her when she was younger,
yeah,
not
it's
talking
not
like
her
that at
voice.
all.
No, and it's just sad because like I get that you're doing that, and like also that one chick, that lady, I love her on Instagram, but she was also losing her accent as well. Um, Oh, she had the little crown and the little microphone. I can't remember what her Instagram handle was, but
Oh, Pinky?
she Pinky, yeah, she would go in and out with her accent as well, which is like
She
totally
doesn't have an
fine.
accent though. She does that fake accent to like as a joke.
Yeah, but
I'm
like
pretty
I
sure.
didn't know her real voice for like ever. Like you know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
no,
That's
she speaks like an American for sure.
oh, for
But
sure. But you know, when that's all you see, that's all you
yeah,
know, right? So it's
that's her
like,
persona. I feel like,
yeah,
but that's a thing. Like you, sometimes you just don't like
no, I don't know.
anyone, any celebrity you see, or any like, especially influencers. I find that influencers
Oh,
are the worst
okay,
because they
yeah,
have to create something that's different from everyone else and like to
yeah,
stand out and like be like super unique or whatever. But the personas that like you think you know these people, you have no
no,
fucking clue who this person is or what they're actually like in
no.
real life.
You know Nikocado Avocado?
No.
Do you know him? Oh, he was like he's a mukbanger and he used to be like this really tiny vegan and now he's like over 300 pounds and almost gonna die from all the mukbangs that he's doing. And
Dude,
he has this persona where he just freaks out and he has an OnlyFans and he's got 7 different streams and all these people go to watch him. Essentially, it seems like he's almost killing himself by the amount of food he's
the
eating.
crazy
The
part
amount of
is like
money he's
I,
making is because he's this persona. But it's
I
gonna kill him.
just I cannot stand listening to people chew.
Oh, I don't know
So
how
I have
mukbangs work.
literally never understood mukbang, like,
Me
because
neither.
all they do is like slurp and chew, and it's like ASMR type shit too, and I'm just like,
I just
I
like
want to
kitty eating
vomit.
ASMR.
Like,
The crunching, the kitty crunching kills me.
kitty crunching is fine, but like people like chewing with your mouth open and shit, like I could
Yes.
backhand someone, like, bitch,
Slurp.
close your mouth. Like, the
I don't
fuck?
get it either. And Trisha Paytas is really known for
Ugh.
doing that kind of shit too, and I just think it's very strange.
She is a
Um,
complete weirdo to
that's
me.
a
I don't.
whole episode, a whole OnlyFans episode.
No
But I want
kidding.
to go back to Kim Kardashian for a minute, because it came up on this that there's this Dave Libenso. Anyways, he has a website called Kim Kardashian Ruined My Life.com. Literally.
What a
So
handle. I love that.
such a handle.
Good for
So
him.
I'm going to read
Good
a bit
for
about
him.
this because I think it's good to expose some of the stuff that these people do. But you guys go look at yourself, go look at your website. I'm just going
I
to click
love
to the
that.
full story here. So, essentially, they thefted their idea. Okay, let's see. Hold on. I just feel like
Because
they don't
wasn't
go
he like
that long.
someone that worked with him for what was it? Like, what did
Kimoji. So
the
this isn't that long.
Kimojis, right?
So I'll read this
Oh
one
yeah,
because
her
this is
stupid Kimojis. I forgot about those. My god.
yeah. So he said, okay, so on his website, you guys, again, you can go look at this, Kim Kardashian, ruinmylife.com. So a guy named Dave. So Chris and Kim in their most blatant ideas theft yet. So I'm building this site on my iPhone and trying to gain momentum for this on my spare time while working 2 jobs and camping in my car. Please share. There are quite
Jesus.
a few exhibits of evidence I'll add a whole section to this site for emails, text, screenshots, original art for emojis, a recording, and over 20 individuals that had involvement and are witnesses. This all started when Kardashian was using our app we had on the Apple App Store named Sensorgram. Our Sensorgram, you can add keywords, emojis, and phrases that you wanted automatically removed from your Instagram comments. Kim obviously had a need for it. She used our app and reached out to me by phone to discuss being the face as well as partner. Then a few weeks later, we met, made the initial partnership agreement at Chris's house in Calabasas, California. After
So
that, when all
hold
got
on a
weird,
second. She wanted to have ownership and stake in an app that erased comments with specific words in them.
and emojis,
Well, that's interesting. So hold on
probably
to
means
that
I
piece of
hate.
information. Because,
Yeah,
like,
no
how
shit, right?
manipulative is that? Like, the fuck?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Okay, continue. Sorry,
Um,
I just had to.
no, yeah, it's very important. And so it said, I lost everything while Kardashian went on to make millions off an idea she had nothing to do with creating. She also interfered with the patent I had filed for a process that now is used by Instagram to automatically remove comments on social media. Kardashian never explained her part in the interference or why she discussed our IP with Kevin Systrom, ex-CEO of Instagram, without permission, which they're very close friends. After her
Oh.
and her team signed our NDA to get our patent file, at that time, Instagram had no intention of using automatic comment control. Then, less than 18 months after Kardashian interference with our process, it's in Instagram settings. Myself or my partners have received nothing of this yet. Added more below. So, yeah, so, anyways, they
So
not
she stole
only
his idea and took it to Instagram, and they.
Mhm. That's what he's alleging. Um, so
Fuck.
I guess. What happened is that they did go to sue him, but again, you guys go read this. This is just Cole's
Buried
notes.
him in legal fees, I'm sure.
Yes, so he said I'll add more about our last attorney, but he told me to withdraw the lawsuit and try to see where arbitration goes. Nowhere, that's where it went. So no one knows why Hartman suggested this. I went in debt over this lawsuit, and now I'm creative and won't shut up about it. So essentially, he's just trying to get,
I
so
think he's probably like I would set up a GoFundMe if I were him and just see if people could help. Like, you don't like the Kardashians, help me fuck him over. Essentially,
pretty much. So
I
that's what
guarantee
he's
you
going to
he'd raise the money. But
Yes.
that's
So
brutal to
that's
steal someone's
brutal.
idea. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that though. Like, I heard back in the day, beauty guru drama. Kat Von D accused Jeffree Star of stealing her friend's art for his cosmetics, like his Jeffree Star cosmetics line. That was huge, like years ago in the beauty community when Kat Von D was still in the beauty community, and she's been out for
Yes.
I feel like close to a decade.
Yeah. Good for her too. And like, do you remember when Tana Mojo always kept trying to like launch different products and like her
I
perfume
like
had found on Alibaba?
I didn't know about her so much. I didn't really follow her much. I kind of knew
No,
of her because of YouTube and all that.
just
Like, you
the
see them
drama.
around, but
Yeah. And Jake
she
Paul or one of the Pauls.
I learned more about her when she started like dating Bella Thorne. I was like, "Hey, who the fuck
Oh,
is this? Like,
my God,
where are
Bella
you in the
Thorne.
scheme of things? Like, is your dad like a producer somehow? Like, how are you in these circles?"
Yeah, I
Because I
don't
feel
get it
like
either.
Hollywood is very much like, yeah, if your dad's like some lawyer or some like big wig hotshot, he gets invited to like interesting parties so you
Financiers.
can get in that way. But like, yeah, like how are these like no. And like
No.
even influencers, like they get invited to some of these like insane Hollywood parties. It's like,
How? Why? Pourquoi?
where? Who do you know? Is
Yeah.
it
What
just
are you
because you
doing?
got the following online? Like, good
Yeah.
lord.
Like,
Yeah,
what is it?
it's the
Buying, selling.
convenience of having 15 minutes of fame, I tell you. Like Dylan
Yes.
Mulvaney, I'm sorry, like he's been doing that for a
Oh,
year, like the
okay, we
365
started.
days, whatever. But like,
We started.
how does he have like the brand deals and like
Now Bud Light and
getting to
tampons
go talk
and
to the
Kate
fucking
Spade.
president? Like
Why?
things like that, like all the face creams and like body washes and shampoos and conditioners and like all this weird shit. Like, it's because he's behind a movement. Like we
Yeah.
said, like Hollywood always has to push something. So
Yeah.
because he's behind the face of this movement, like it is just crazy how like
It's sad.
influencers and like just celebrate like you just they get given so much just
Mhm.
because of yeah what they tout and
Yes.
what is like dragging on their coattails behind them essentially. Like, what do you bring with you? Well, I bring the
Mhm.
whole LGBTQ community. Well, I bring the whole
Mhm.
black community. I bring the whole like Hispanic community, the Asian community, like whatever you're
Whatever.
touting, that's what they're after. They're not after the cover of it. They just want
No.
whatever clout and shit that you have that you can give to them. Like, it's
Yes.
depressing.
How can they virtual signal off your back and make money without giving you any money to them? Like,
Yeah.
you could
Like, these
change
are just supposed to be
your
like regular ass
logo.
people.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Another thing I want to bring up too, which I think I'll just do a couple of these notes because we've really gone through a lot, and I really want to go through the CIA thing before we
yeah,
end this episode. So quickly though, if you guys haven't watched the Pamela Anderson documentary on Netflix, I highly, highly,
I
highly,
have
highly
to go watch it.
recommend. Yeah, it was amazing. I think it's amazing for her to take this power and decide that she's going to tell her fucking story how she wants
Yeah.
to tell it and not what anybody else wants.
Let other
And
people tell it.
yes,
Yeah.
and I'm from the island, so very close to home. She was born and
Shout
raised.
out.
Yes, I thought it was really cool. And just because I'm a huge fan of the movie The Dirty, I don't know about you guys, the Motley Crue one
Yeah.
of my favorite movies of all time. Or is it The Dirty or Dirty or whatever it is?
Yeah.
The Motley Crue one. It's probably one of my favorite movies. We watch it all the time, even though they're fucked up. But
They did it really well, I
they did
thought. They
such
did
a good
that
job.
really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's my era. That's how I grew up. My mom was obsessed with Motley Crue. I have a picture of me and her with like this like fake Motley Crue band with the hair and everything. So it brings me back to
I
childhood.
love that.
Anytime Motley Crue plays, I'm always amped the fuck up, always. So I really wanted to see, Pamela Anderson's side. And so I highly recommend it, you guys. She also has a book. I did not read that. I don't really read celebrity books, but the documentary was great. It was about an hour and a
Yeah,
half, and
I've heard it.
it
They've done a
showed,
few, I feel like, in the
yeah,
last year, but
yeah, I think
hers I've
so.
heard is
Yeah, yeah, and this documentary was so well done. It was like with her and her sons in it too, and like brought a lot of people in, and um gave a different view of like the Playboy, mansion, because like, not spoiler alert, but she never stayed there, and it was just like this girl was very aware, I
Yeah.
believe, and very smart, and she did things very business savvy in a way that you wouldn't think of, and she's straight
Very
up admits her fuck
purposeful.
up. Yeah, she's very honest. She's very real. She was like, I probably shouldn't have done this, but like I did it, and like, you're just, I don't know. It was just really cool. It was very raw and real,
Yeah.
and I highly
I love
suggest
that.
watching it. Another random note I stumbled across, it was just an article, and it just said it was talking about Martha Stewart's granddaughter and that she was 81 years old, and that made me actually choke on my water.
Uh, Dude, some of
Not
these, like,
relevant.
how is Martha 81? Like,
That's what I mean. I was like,
her
bitch,
and
you got
Cher
prison?
must, like, yeah, have some real good adrenochrome somewhere
That's what I'm
because, like,
saying,
the fuck?
right?
81? Like,
81, and she
look
doesn't
at
look like.
her and then look at Betty White when she was 99. Like, the difference, like, how is Martha Stewart, yeah, not like old gray haired, white haired, like wrinkly bag of bones yet? Like, she
Mhm.
looks like she's
In her
still,
late
like,
60s, maybe.
yeah, able to record a whole ass, like, TV segment still. Like, it is
Yes,
wild when you said
I
that. I was
don't
like,
know. I know.
81?
That's why I was like, I don't need to say too much about it. I'll just
Minus
let it
20,
go.
right?
Yeah,
Like, am
exactly.
I.
Like, what? I just, and it made me feel
Crazy.
old. I don't know why. Like, I know she's
Yes.
81, but I was like, ooh, that makes me feel like I'm aging myself here by saying that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, I agree with that.
Well,
Like when you said that, I was like, okay, no, 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 no.
yeah,
What?
yeah,
Like
no.
that means that I'm old. And then I start thinking, I'm like, well, I am in my 30s, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
I
Like,
know, but you're like, I'm not, I'm not,
because
I'm
she
not.
was
My mom's still
61 when I
30.
was young. Like, holy
Yeah,
hell.
I know. And I was like, another thing, I want to get into the Brooke Shield things after, but quickly, Brooke Shield is going to have a series about how she was exploited as a child.
We should have a
So
whole episode
I
on
know,
celebrities that have spoken out and come out about abuse and
yeah,
stuff.
I think in our month of sex, we should talk about that, like
Yeah,
Hollywood
because
sex,
there's
like
been a
bullshit.
lot.
There is a
Like,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah. Quickly, I'm not going to jump into this. Andrew Tate was released from prison. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Actually, I
under
want to,
house arrest.
yeah, under house arrest. So I want to put a pin on that and see where that is in a couple weeks. So that just happened.
Yeah,
Um, and one other thing before we jump in, I don't really want to talk about the Britney Spears thing because it's not even that big of a deal. But it has been a year since her conservatorship ended. So I guess
yeah.
yay. I don't know. I feel like she still looks like
She's
she's
still
gonna
in a lot of controversy in my books.
Yes, I don't know if that's a win, but one thing I want to say that I keep reading and this reiterating on Facebook is all these articles going off saying that the creators of Friends saying that their jokes were offensive and didn't age well. And I just want to say, fuck off and leave Friends alone.
Leave it
That's all I
alone.
want.
It's comedy. Like, I'm getting so sick of, like, I saw this thing about Ricky Gervais saying, like,
Mhm.
people have to stop saying, like, that offended me, or, like, I'm offended by
Oh,
that joke. Like, that's fine. Or that
who
joke is
cares?
offensive, he said. You can
Yes,
say, I'm offended by that joke. That's fine. But the joke isn't offensive. It's funny.
yes,
You're taking offense to it. If you put the connotation on something to mean something negative or whatever to you, that's fine because not everyone's going to share that same opinion. Like,
right. And like, let
comedy
them
is being attacked hard. You can't say
go.
nothing anymore. And I hate saying that, but like literally, like you can't make a joke without having to consider if you're hurting someone's feelings. And like,
Mhm.
there's a playfulness in that kind of humor. Like, I can't. Like,
I think,
I agree.
I
Like,
think
Friends
making
is
fun of
hilarious. Leave it
I
alone.
think making fun of yourself is a form of self love. Like if you cannot
You have to be able to
joke,
laugh at yourself as well, not at
yes,
other people's expenses all the time. But like, self deprecation is funny for a reason because
yes.
when you can pick on yourself, you can pick on the rest of the world. So like, honestly, like,
And you can't take it so seriously. And
so
like I know that's hard to
frustrating.
say, but like I don't know, we've all been through shit. Everybody in the world's been through shit. And I just think if you can just like let
Stop
go for
going
a
back
second.
to, like, yeah, let go and like don't take everything so seriously. Stop going back and finding old things to pick on, like, oh, this didn't age well. Well,
Yes.
then leave it there. Don't watch
Yes.
it.
Yes, and I feel like
Like,
Friends was a very advanced for its time. Like, in my opinion, it had a lot of fucking more things than
yeah,
most movies did at that time. But I feel like the 90s was very inclusive. Like, there was representation everywhere. There
yeah.
was like LGBT, like there was maybe not as much as it's being pushed now, absolutely. But it wasn't that there wasn't people
It
there
wasn't.
and
It wasn't an agenda push. It was a genuine inclusivity. Like, it was
yes,
genuinely inclusive. Where like, yeah,
yes,
you'll be added here and there, and like, yes, there'll be characters that have like like ambiguous, or like innuendos that are kind of like, oh my god, I think that character was gay, like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like in your face like every
Yeah.
character is gay or lesbian or trans or bi, and like everyone's like, there has to be like at least six or set, like it's not like a full black cast, which there's nothing wrong with movies like that, but like
No.
there was like the funny thing is amongst them there wasn't a whole lot of diversity in that sense, but like
No.
they did have a lot of like colored celebrities and like big
Mhm.
name people, and like had a lot of like ins and outs and stuff, and like yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but it was also like, yeah, the 90s and the 2000s, like
It did
if you're
feel
going to go
more
back and
inclusive
pick
in my
on
opinion.
everything, like you have like way too much time on your hands, like my
Yes.
lord.
Look in the future, look in the back. So now
Yeah.
we'll get to wrap up here with just some articles that I found. This one's in the Atlantic about, again, guys, we say go and look into this, and I didn't want to dive too deep because I'm tired of this research, but we have a break before we dive into next week and war. So, how the CIA hoodwinked Hollywood. So, since its inception, the agency has wooed filmmakers, producers, actors in order to present a rosary portrait of its operations to the American public. So if
Yes,
you don't
sir.
think that the CIA isn't in there making themselves look better on these movies, you have another thing coming. So I'll
Yeah,
continue reading. The CIA has a long history of spooking the news dating back to its earliest days when the legendary spy master
sure
Ellen
does.
Doodles and his top staff drank and dined regularly with the oppressive elites of New York and Washington. The agency boasted of hundreds of US and foreign journalists as paid and unpaid assets. In 1977, as after the systematic
Yeah.
media manipulation was publicly exposed by congressional investigations, the CIA created an Office of Public Affairs that was tasked with guiding press coverage of intelligent matters in more transparent fashion.
Yeah, nothing surprises me, honestly. It's
Nothing. It
they
does,
use it
right?
to push their agendas in like sugar coated ways. They use it to like sugarcoat everything. So like, does that really
Yes.
surprise you? It shouldn't.
No, and how history and how certain things were, and they get to decide how we see
Yeah,
it. And most people are
just
ignorant or
because The
don't
Rock
know.
and fucking Jimmy
Yeah.
Fallon and all these people say so, like
Hmm.
it's too
Um,
much.
yeah. So,
There's also a good book, Trisha Jenkins, The CIA in Hollywood: How the Agency Shapes Films and Television. If you like reading,
yes,
they've
there's a lot in that one too. Like
yeah,
a lot in there. It says the agency has established a very active spin machine in the heart of entertainment capital, which works strenuously to make sure that the cloak and dagger world is presented in heroic
yeah,
terms. Since the mid 1990s, but especially after 9/11, American screenwriters, directors, and producers have traded positive portrayal of the spy profession in film and television projects for special access
it's
and
funny,
favors
that's
at
true.
CIA headquarters. Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah,
It's been
I
working with
just
Hollywood since 1947.
well, that book was it's about the, yeah, like how, what does it say here? The CIA in Hollywood. Uh so Trisha, who is an assistant professor in the film and television and digital media department at Texas Christian University, which I feel like immediately as soon as you hear Texas Christian University, you're gonna think she's like some crazy, like, yeah, Bible thumping, like everything's the
Mhm.
devil. But like, she just talks about how brief and clear presentation of how the CIA has actively sought to corroborate with Hollywood to develop certain programs since the 1990s. So if the CIA is working with Hollywood, that's where, yeah, Monarch would fall into play when they need these people to do exactly what they need them to do, when they need them to do it, and no matter how embarrassing or disgusting or whatever the case may be, or
Mhm.
illegal, like mind control, like very much like implanting like thoughts into everyone's head with TVs. Like, hello,
Yeah.
why do you think the pandemic was so, like, quote unquote, unfortunately successful? Because people, if it's on the news, if a
Repeat.
celebrity is saying it, if like it's on repeat
Officials are
in your
saying it.
face all the time, like
Yeah.
you're going to believe it because you respect these people, you look up to these people. They're our authority. They're the people who run our countries and
Yeah.
our
They
nations
grab
and
our
provide our
hearts.
news,
They
and
make us
like,
laugh.
yeah, they're our
They bring
entertainment.
value.
You fall in love with them, like you, it is just, if you look at it objectively and from like out here, it just seems
Mhm.
so obvious
It
that
does.
they
It
have their
does.
hand in Hollywood's pocket. Like, why wouldn't
So
they?
much so. So much so. Yeah, that book, I actually honestly feel like I'm going to add that to my
I
list. I
think I'm
actually
gonna
just,
buy it, to be honest with
yeah,
you. I think that'd
I
be a good
just,
read.
I just ordered Jordan Peterson's The 12 Steps of chaos
I
or
find it
something like
like
that.
when he
Mhm.
speaks and like his books, they're very technical. So I have to be in the right mindset to read that because he's
Yeah,
very like
yeah,
intellectual and he uses
yes,
very intellectual language that like I have to like turn on a switch and like activate into that because
yes. So the
that's a
book
good
I have
read.
right now is definitely the same by about the quantum field and stuff. So I definitely have to be, but there's just something
Get the
about this one
Hollywood
in the
one for
first.
some light fluffiness for in between
Yes,
all of your smart
yeah,
book reads there.
I know. I'm like, this is too much. I'm reading
Crazy.
this. So this is another one about the Pentagon and the CIA have shaped thousands of Hollywood
Yeah.
movies and effective propaganda. So this is written January 5th,
That
2020.
too. How often do you hear? Well, it was in the movies. So like, oh my
It's in
god,
the
I saw
movie.
that in the movie. Like, look at Black Mirror. Like,
Yes. Look at
how
Titanic.
creepy that shit is. The
Think about
Titanic.
Titanic. We
Look at
all
all the
think,
zombie movies that have been out recently.
yeah,
Like,
Contagion. We're living it.
yeah,
We're
or
living
like
it.
Jurassic Park, and like all of a sudden they're gonna bring back mammoths and dodo birds. Like, bitch, have you not seen the whole movie you created about it, Jurassic Park? Like, maybe we don't bring back dead
Did
things
we
and things
do
that lived
that?
thousands of years ago. Let's calm down on that front.
Slow down that
Like
one.
shit like that. Like movies. It's everything you see in the movies has purpose in my mind, or a lot of
Yeah,
it
and
does.
what are we? What's that one movie with Jim Carrey? The Truman Show. And everyone says we're living in the Truman Show, right? And it's like
Dude,
it's hard sometimes not to disagree with that. So this article was saying propaganda is the most impactful when people don't think it's propaganda, and most decisive when it's censorship you've never knew
yeah,
happened. When we imagine that the US military only occasionally and slightly influence US movies, we are extremely badly deceived. The actual
yes,
impact is on thousands of movies made and thousands of others that were never made. Like if they decided that they didn't like a script about something, it got destroyed. It
cut.
never got brought. It got cut completely.
Yeah,
And television shows as well. The military guests and celebrations of U.S. military on game shows, cooking shows are no more spontaneous or civilian in origin than the ceremonies glorifying members of the U.S. military. At professional sports game ceremonies that may have been paid or choreographed by U.S. tax dollars and the U.S. military.
could you
The
imagine?
entertainment. Wow. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's been rumors. Well, not rumors. I'm not really big into the sports world, but like, I have seen things and heard things that, like, yeah, people think like games are rigged and like all the outcomes are pretty much predetermined and like it's all a
Mhm.
big show and like they're not always playing, which would like that's disgusting
It is.
if that's the
And they
truth.
apparently, allegedly, it says the military is not passive as they might suggest. It actively pitches new story ideas to movie and TV producers. It seeks out new ideas and new collaborators who might bring them
For
to the
sure.
theater or laptop near you. Active Valor actually began life as a recruitment advertisement. So
I
they make it look
remember,
really so heroic and like it's not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just wild that those are their tactics to go through
yeah,
movies to recruit people.
I remember watching, okay, for all the people out there, the movie Paul about the alien.
Aliens. Yep, yep, yep.
So it's Seth Rogen's voice, which is my favorite. So Paul, there's a scene where he says that he was on the phone. It was like a speakerphone type thing, talking to M Night Shyamalan and to like Spielberg and to like all these like movie producers. Like he gave Spielberg the ET touch healing finger thing because that's what he can do in the movies. He can heal people. He gave people like iPhones and microwaves and like they consulted with him on like so many different like things for like yeah movies and like technology that we now have that we didn't before and like shit like that. And I'll never forget watching that thinking like, dude, the possibility that they had like found or captured or connected with an alien and like picked his brain, and that's where we got like microwaves or like telephones where we can communicate. Like, Brandy, you live hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of miles away from me, but you and I can talk on a phone
Multiple avenues here.
on a, like shit like that. Like, it's crazy to think like, where did
Crazy,
that
yeah.
come from? Who the fuck? Who? Like,
Ooh,
you have to be like a weird,
Tesla.
crazy, smart. Like, it's just, yeah. And it just, I'll never forget that scene. I'm like, dude, like, I feel like that could be a thing.
Xenu.
Like, we're,
He's real.
yeah, connected with Xenu, getting some microwave, like plans so I can build one
Mhm.
myself and like get all the
Yeah.
parts together. Like, I just, it does not like the implant of information, like all the war movies, like you said, they make things look like all of our history, I find, is a hard thing to get behind because it's okay. I'm gonna put myself out here, and people might attack me, and that's totally fine. And like, I respect everyone's just like choice to believe what they believe, but like, I've never particularly believed in like the Bible per se because it is a book that is apparently, I'm gonna say like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, millions. Like, this is an old fucking book,
Mhm.
and you're gonna tell me that word for word is exactly what was written back in the
No,
day when it
that's
first came
not
out?
the thing.
You fucked. Creative
Yeah.
writing and like taking creative liberties with writing and like changing things because you don't like it, like,
Mhm.
I do not believe it. So like, there's no way you're telling me that it wasn't rewritten. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people are always going to add their own spin to things, or like, I don't
Remove
really
stuff.
like that we came out looking so shitty in that one, so let's kind of rework that. Like, look at Inglorious Bastards,
Mhm.
where they actually kill, like, I'm pretty sure they kill, what's his name, Hitler. And
Mhm.
like, they like, it's just a very different outcome of the war, in my opinion. I thought, like, I think parts of it were accurate, but like, parts of it weren't. Like, you can do whatever you damn well please in movies because that's the beauty of it, but I
Then you
just,
wonder
yeah,
what at what
the
degree are they doing that store,
the
right? Like the war
implants,
movies and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
like,
Like
I
what
fully
impact
agree
did
with
they make,
that. Yeah,
right? Like when me
I
and
still
Allie went
believe
on.
that they have a zombie virus in the CDC somewhere in the world, and that's
Oh,
why they're like
probably.
priming us with all this zombie content the last few years. Because quite honestly, like, out of all the apocalypses, I'm proud to say that I feel like Nick and I would have the best if they're like Walking Dead zombies where they're like slow. Like, I don't want no like zombie World War Z like
Jason, yeah.
full tilt running at me like that shit.
No.
I'll just kill myself. I'm not dealing with
Yeah.
that bullshit. Like, thank you. But
No.
like the slow walkers, Nick and I could fucking handle that. Like, I could be down for that apocalypse. Mother
Well, like
Nature,
who's
I don't
to
want to fuck
say?
with any kind of nuclear. Not very many people are going to make it, but like, I could do some damage in a zombie apocalypse. But like,
I feel like we're there though. Like who's to say that we're not in it in a sense where people are
that's
just not connected to the world, you know? Like,
that's what it is. Zombied in a completely unexpected way
yeah,
than what
where
we,
it's like
yeah.
it's
But
monsters
that's
in
what
a
I mean.
way.
Do
Like,
they implant themes and ideas and shit like that into our movies to get us so desensitized to killing people? Why is
yes,
killing people such a part of nature? Who
yes,
decided
and
that? Yes,
video
animals
games
kill
and
to
stuff.
eat and all that, but like, people killing people for senseless, not for hunting, not for anything other than just like senseless murder. Yeah. Why is it in everything? Why did Bambi's mom die at the beginning of that movie to traumatize all of us kids as like,
Because they
like
wanted to become
toddlers,
like
because
her.
Bambi's like a baby movie. Like,
Yeah.
they desensitize us to so much to like
Yes.
normalize such violent things a lot of the time, and like weird things.
I feel like so that we can all accept big things like war, right? Like
Like,
this, like to dehumanize
or like
people, like see
American
that they're a
Beauty
threat to safety and stuff like that. Like,
back
you
in the
know,
day. That movie like normalized like creepy old dude
Mhm.
flirting and hitting and getting it on with like a super
Elvis.
young girl.
Elvis was dating like a 16-year-old or married
Like,
to,
there's
and
a
she was,
lot of like really weird storylines, and if you look back, like, why was that, yeah, like, why was that put into Hollywood? Like,
and
why is that like a thing?
at my grandma's age, she was 16 dating someone way older. And at that time, it was like, well, Elvis is doing it. And he was so highly regarded,
Well, they
right? And
were
it was like,
getting married at like
seriously?
16 to 18 back
Mhm.
then too. Like, everything started so much sooner. So I feel
Yes.
like the older we get now, like, yeah, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of weird because like, what, we don't have to have, not that some people don't and do, like, good for you, but you don't have to have kids at 16, 17, 18 anymore because one, we live a lot longer, and
I
two,
can afford that.
that's just, yeah, this is just kind of a different path we've taken, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, the amount of like agendas, I hate the word agenda because like, it does kind of like
No.
lend to like the
It
like
gives you
conspiracy theory
eating on the
shit, but
fly.
like,
Yeah.
the themes that are always present in Hollywood that we are so desensitized to, like, sex, drugs, rock and roll, murder, like all the like salacious, yeah, like darker stuff, or
Argument.
like taboo, naughty stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it makes you think. Like, it's put out there quite a bit for something that's taboo and not supposed to
Mhm.
happen. Like, we get
Yes.
a
That's
lot of
so
odd
why.
pride and like interest and like curiosity out of like serial killer shows and like crime shows and unsolved mystery shows, and it's just like,
Why? I
yeah,
get it why, but I
why?
don't. But it's like,
I do.
it's all
I am one of them. I love
yeah,
CSI. I love shit like that, but like, why?
I know. It's like, why am I so intrigued by that? Maybe I should go touch
Yeah.
the grass a little bit.
Yeah, I need to
But
go sit in the sun and lighten
as
up a
we
little bit.
speak about distracting, and we just distract you for Hollywood for hours, it's there. We need it. We need to escape. We need to have a
I
place
don't
to
think we're
check out.
possible of doing a 30-minute episode. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think
I
that is a
know. I tried.
possibility for us. We
I know.
just,
I tried.
once you
I
get
was like,
going,
I
it's
don't have
hard.
very many. I don't have very many points, but I do, but I don't. But it's interesting, and it all falls together. But it's a lot lighter. We're gonna get dark next episode, guys. So we're gonna start
This one was
talking.
more of just
Last
a
episode,
gossipy.
yeah. And like also go look into this stuff, guys. Go look at how the CIA and the government are linked to Hollywood and the effects they have, and what
And
does that mean in your life?
think about it too, and like put yourself in like the outside. Yes, you can still like Hollywood. Yes, you can still
Yeah,
consume
of
things of
course.
Hollywood and watch movies. And I watch TV and movies lots, and like still
Also,
to this day all the time. Like it's just, it is a part of our life. But like just be aware of what you're consuming and be aware of like the
the
grasp that
reaction
some of
to
this
it.
shit can have on you. Like, who the fuck cares about Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber? Because I sure as hell don't. The fact that it's all over my Instagram and like social media is quite annoying. Snapchat, it's everywhere too. Like, it's kind of inevitable, but like, do I like read it here and there? Yeah, but do I let it consume me like I used to when you're a teenager and in your young adult life?
No. Oh, it's so different. And even
I
just a
don't
couple
have
of years
time.
ago,
Yeah,
even
I just
I'd be like
don't have
so
time
obsessed,
for it.
and I'm like, I'm their entertainment when I need it, and I'm gonna check out, and I'm not gonna get
It
involved,
just
and I'm not
shows
gonna.
how distracted and how like zoned out zombies we were for just
Yes,
the distractions they were feeding us. We lapped that up like fucking cats and milk. It was just bad.
fresh cat milk.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna hit war, and we're gonna talk about all the ways that the government has fucked around with
War.
this small amount,
Huh.
and
What
we're gonna
is
talk
it
on
good
aliens.
for?
Nothing. Making money for the fucking tabernacle governments. That's what it does. But this has been so much fun talking about operations.
Aliens.
Right? We've been having fun. Next month, we're going to jump into Big Pharma. And
Love
like we
it.
said, we're going to dive into sex more and
Big Pharma.
Lassie's Big
God.
Pharma next. So that's going to be fun talking about sex and the history of that.
Kinsey and Playboy
Traffic.
and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Yes, and we need to start talking about trafficking that is local because it's happening more and more, especially BC, especially the island. There's one case that hits
Ontario
close to
lots.
home, Ontario lots. We need to talk about this as all together. But that's it for this episode. Hales, thank you. This is so much fun. As always, guys,
Always a
thanks for
pleasure.
supporting. It was always a pleasure. We're going to be here all the time, 2 times a week so far. Hope you guys are enjoying season 5. We fuck are. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing,
Yep.
all those things. Until next time, guys. Bye. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the show today. We truly hope that you had a good time. If you liked this episode and you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe to our channels, like our episodes, and turn on those notification bells. You can find us on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Google Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Until next time, guys.